Going from good to great, it's always the toughest hurdle we face. Today we're going to talk about how to accomplish that in our mix.
Like you're playing the guitar when you're automating, moments where you want to feel like you're digging in, you're essentially playing the fader. Things that to me I kind of feel is like, I don't want to call it a secret weapon.
What's up everybody, EJ here. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. For those of you whose teams are in it, congratulations. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in the studio today because my favorite football team hasn't gotten even close to the Super Bowl in my lifetime. So we're going to look at the last installment of our video, and it really focuses on the finishing touches of a mix, often overlooked, and a lot of times it can be seen when you were listening to a really fantastic rough mix, but the producer, the artist, maybe even the recording engineer feel it's still missing that radio-ready polish. And how do we do it? It's not a lot of extra EQ and compression. While yes, that can help punch things up a little bit, and we've already talked about that. But today we're going to look at the unsung heroes. That's automation, the things that help that music come out into the room, to live, to breathe, to push at us, to pull back, to lift up, to sink down. We're going to finish our mix off today by putting the final touches on it with a lot of volume automation and one little secret trick that I love. Let's get started.
Okay, so we are in the home stretch now. We've gone through from the editing phase of labeling the section, labeling the tracks, cleaning the tracks, roughly balancing the tracks through a good portion of the mixing phase, which was dialing in the tones, setting our master bus in terms of tonality, compression. And now we're gonna look to add the emotional lift to the music by doing some automation. And where I like to start with the automation is first my submix. So as you remember, or may not,
I don't remember anything.
I use my submix to kind of be the first stop in terms of some basic processing. That would almost be like the last step of the tracking phase. And then also as a volume knob for my 2-bus, which essentially is like what I consider my mixing console, has all the processing on it that I think colors the music the way that I like. And I don't normally need to resort to turning down the actual submix fader, except for in this part of the process where I will bring it down roughly about a dB and a half, and then it allows me to do some volume automation on the song. And the reason I put it on the sub and not the 2-bus is because this way I push into my processing, and I'm not doing it on the 2-bus, which has the limiter on the out and then can end up kind of clipping. So it's really to drive into things a little bit more, to give a little bit more energy and emotion, and then also to just make sure that my gain staging while doing it stays intact. So here's going to be some basic kind of automation to start. So I know that I want my choruses louder than my verses. So for this, I'm going to jump down to my first hook, and I'm going to volume automate up slightly the first chorus. Then we're going to go to our instrumental break to the end of the song based off the way the structure is, and we're going to volume automate up. And then we're going to get to these hooks here and volume automate these up. So now we're kind of back to 0 here. And then what we'll do is we'll go through and we will refine this a little bit with some more rides and some individual instrument rides. But this gives me at least a little bit of an emotional context. And I'm going to actually bring all this down. So let's just delete you, and then we'll just go from here, and we'll have the band, when the band kicks in, just a smidge louder.
Just a smidge.
So this is kind of what we have. Okay, so let's start by doing some vocal rides here. We're gonna ride going into our processing. I'm gonna put this on touch so I have a general level that I like. And I'm just gonna use my actual Avid Artist Mix physical fader. I'm gonna keep the volume relatively low so that I can focus on the mid-range. I'm also going to switch my speakers to the NS10 version, so I can really kind of hone in on this and just kind of get the vocal to feel like it's just in a really good spot and very present throughout, which is probably going to be bringing up some of the tails of some of the phrases. And I'm in touch mode, so that way when I back off or not doing any volume, it goes to the level that I'm at currently, which is a decent static level, but definitely needs some refining. This guitar solo feels like it could use a little bit of a special moment here, and then we're going to go through and do a ride on it. So what I was hearing and what I decided to do was to give the guitar, the lead guitar, a little bit of width. And I accomplished that by just popping on an echo void, throwing it to dual echo, and bringing these down into almost chorusing type of delay ranges. We're in the early area of slap. And then just followed that with a sans sample distortion, and I didn't want super top end stuff like we were talking about, so just a little bit more kind of mid-range bite. I was just checking the certain spots in the song. They don't seem to be competing with the lead vocal, or they're not really going when the vocal's going, so it's a good arrangement there. And we can boost a little bit, and then we'll find a good static spot for the effect, and then we're going to do some volume automation on the lead guitar. I also heard something with the vocal, so here. Just felt like we could, nope. Just felt like we could have a special moment with this first little introduction of the hook. So we're gonna quickly just be able to automate on here. And these are things that, as you work with the artist or are listening over and over and deciding whether or not you're liking some of the decisions that you're making, can always back out of pretty easy. We're just going to automate these on really fast. I just used a phone plugin, and again, these are things that you could just kind of created that effect with this EQ filter here, just kind of focusing in on the mids and upper mids, and then a little bit of reverb. That would kind of get you there without doing it the way that I just did it. But let's kind of check out where we're at. Okay, now over to the guitar ride. Again, we just don't want it to feel so static, so we're just going to kind of bring up spots, almost like we are playing the guitar. And that's the way to kind of envision it, is like you're playing the guitar when you're automating or playing the drums, in those moments where you want to feel like you're digging in. Bring it up and you want it to feel like it's kind of backing off or interplaying with the music in a push-pull kind of way. You can back off the fader, so you're essentially playing the fader. Okay, this is one of the things that to me I kind of feel is like, I don't want to call it a secret weapon.
That's your secret weapon.
Something I really enjoy doing that helps, give my mixes a little bit more of that finishing sheen and width. And it's just the SPL Vitalizer. And the only thing I touch on it is the stereo expander, and I put it around 6. And I keep it on bypass. And then I go down here and I'm going to automate it on and off. So in areas that I want, so like when that band first kicks in, I want it to feel pretty open. I'm also going to go to here to exaggerate it a little bit, and right For here, I'm going to pull my left. So we're going to narrow the drums a little bit, say around 80. Go to right pan. 80. Then we automate this on. And this is where, during your editing phase, it helps because I can just kind of go by my markers here and quickly fly through and imagine areas with listening where I would like to hear things open up and expand. One of the last things we'll automate will be the piano here, which kind of sits to the right. Give it some moments to kind of bubble up. Automation time. So again, we're just gonna kind of drop in on the end here. Okay, so I think we have the mix in a really good spot. There is just a little bit, this video could be another hour just kind of doing a little bit of nitpicking here or there. I'm probably gonna ride these guitars really quick, the rhythm guitars. Other than that, I went through and just added a little bit of level. And as you can see, when we go to the part that I automated had the highest level of volume, and it's also the most dense part of the song, we're not really getting a whole lot. Like, we'll start and I'll kind of walk you through everything that is global, and we have the tape machine. So I'm just gonna quickly hit the front part of these guitars when they come in. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick listen through on the headphones and just see how everything's sitting. I haven't referenced those yet. Again, we've been listening really at a pretty low volume. At no point have we had the speakers really kind of cranked up. So we're gonna pop some headphones on, so I'm gonna mute my speakers, which doesn't impact what you're hearing.
A few moments later.
So I like where it's at. I like where the punch is. I like the movement in the mix. I like where the vocal's sitting. This would definitely be a spot where I would send it out and be comfortable hearing any sort of notes for revision. And I've learned a lot going through this as well, and I'm sure, you know, continuing to play it back, there would be things that I would hear that would want to keep tweaking, because as you know, these mixes are never finished. They're only abandoned, just like any kind of art form. You'll let me know in the comments below whether you feel that I achieved what I originally set out to do, which was to make the kick the bottom of the track and anchor it, widen out that bass, have a big, larger than life vocal, bring harmonics into the pianos, and then create some features for the bell section and the voice, and then also to make sure that the song has a big finish. So we are looking to add some width and definitely some depth and a lot more punch to those drums. So let me know if you think we accomplished it. This is always, you know, such a massive learning experience, and every time I sit down, I feel like I walk away with like 5 or 6 new ideas. So,
all right, so I hope you definitely learned a couple really cool automation tricks to add into your repertoire to really punch up your mixes. And if you haven't already, I would also suggest you go back to the other videos in the series and give them a watch if you haven't had a chance to check them out yet. As always, thank you so very much for all your support. Please like and subscribe. It allows me to reach more people and grow this channel. I'm having such a great time doing it, so much fun sharing everything with you, and really want to keep that going. Hope you enjoy your Super Bowl. If you're a Chiefs fan or an Eagles fan, I wish you the best of luck. Me, well, there's always next year. Till then, have a great day.